Hey everybody, and welcome to the Intentional Harmony Podcast. This podcast is for musicians looking to jumpstart their career, inspire others, and get motivated to make the life of your dream. I don't care if you've been playing music for 5 years or 20 years. If you want a career in music, then what the heck are you waiting for? And let me clarify when I say career. This podcast is not just for musicians that want to make it big. This is for the musician who wants to play part-time, the brand new artist who just needs a little push in the right direction, the artist who does want to make it their full-time gig, and even the artist who's still figuring it out, because really, aren't we all? Whatever your dream and vision may be, this podcast will be here for you. I'm your host, Katie Warren, and I am so excited that you decided to listen today. My goal with each episode is that you explore deeper thoughts, build confidence to make your dream a reality, and give you practical tools and ideas that you can apply to real-life situations. Hey everybody, I am super excited you are here listening today. And before we get started, I just have to tell you that this is the second time I'm recording this episode because I got all the way done with my first recording and realized not only was my microphone not plugged in, my dog was also snoring in the background really obnoxiously throughout the entire episode. So here we are, take two, but yet the topic is just as valuable and important to chat about the second time. So today we're going to talk about unique ways to make money as a musician. Now, we all know that obviously playing gigs and touring is typically a musician's ultimate goal, selling/streaming music. It's going to pay off in the end. But what about in the meantime? It's hard to get big gigs that are going to pay well, especially if you're working a full-time job. The coffee hour gig is just not going to pay those bills. Selling music is great, but we all know how the CD industry moved and is moving. And while it can add up over time with proper strategy, streaming is not exactly a short-term solution either. The pennies are very minimal. So what next? I want you guys to grab a piece of paper. You can also check out my blog at intentartistmanagement.com/blog to get a full list that you can print out. But we're going to cover a lot of different strategies here. Also keep in mind, we may live in different countries and cities, so laws, regulations, and opportunities could really differ depending on where you are. With that said, I'm going to go down the list and expand on each one. After you listen to this episode, if you want me to go in depth about specific ones, feel free to send me a message and let me know. I can definitely take an entire episode and cover specific ones if you guys want me to dig deeper. All right, let's get started. I'm going to say the more common and doable ways first, and then as we go, it's going to get a little bit more obscure, though nothing outrageous. They're totally possible. You may not be able to do every single strategy yet, and I'll cover that later, but you can work your way down as you grow your following and your fan base. These first few are doable even if you don't have many followers. So let's get started. Do session work. Reach out to bands and local recording studios. You may be surprised at just how needed this type of work is. You can make a decent amount of money once you get to be the go-to person for that band or studio. People make full-time jobs out of this. As long as you catch on quick, you're easy to play with and work with, you're going to be climbing up that call list in no time. If you play a classical instrument or something unique, don't forget to reach out to the symphonies in the area as well. Getting on a sub list or a contract list with them can be a really great side income. Write music. If you are writing your own songs, you could absolutely write for other people, or even later, once you get some work in, write for TV shows, commercials, and movies. You should start locally and ask if that band or person needs songwriting. But slowly, you're going to build those connections, and if you like writing, ideally sign on with a publisher. Bouncing off the writing topic, enter in some contests. What do you have to lose? Winning not only could lead to money, but some recognition that may just end up being the leverage you need to get some great paying opportunities. Teaching is up next, and there are a few different ways you could go about this. Personally, I'm not a fan of giving private lessons. It's just not for me. Other people love it. They're really good at teaching that way. My forte is teaching through blogs, giving seminars, and now I'm hopping into the podcast platform. So you really just need to experiment a little and figure out what you can and want to do. I don't think you should be miserable teaching if you really don't like it, but give it a try on a few different platforms. In-person private lessons are great, especially if you enjoy doing that. Just check with your local music shops in the area. Many times they rent out space. You may have to pay a little bit. Sometimes you don't. They just get, a little commission on top of your private lesson fee. It just really depends on the studio. If you have a house or a living space available that's decent for hosting, you could absolutely have private lessons right in your studio, living room, office, wherever. In-person teaching may not be your thing. It may not be possible. So guys, there's this awesome thing called the internet. Hello. And in all seriousness, it gives us way more opportunities than we're willing to take on. You can teach via webcam. You can teach via YouTube tutorials or blog posts. Heck, you can even find people looking for lessons on various freelancing and classified websites. I found that even if you don't think you're the best at your skill yet, you can teach. You love music and you have your own experiences with music, so you can absolutely speak about it to others. The secret to teaching seems pretty obvious when you think about it. Never teach or speak to a group smarter than you. It's simple, right? If you're fresh out of college, don't look for college students. Look for children that are just starting or adults who maybe are picking up a new instrument and want to learn. Start looking at a few levels below you and just teach away. You're going to seem like a genius to them. And my favorite part, it's going to help build your confidence and skill as you go along as well. The next one is recording backing tracks. If you have access to your own studio, just sell accompaniment that people can put their music to. If you have good rhythm, it's a no-brainer. Just get to work. A few hours are going to add up, and it's going to pay for itself if you're producing a good product. Jazz backing tracks are really popular. Really, any type of rhythmic backing tracks or bass lines are going to get some attention and sell pretty well. But there's a lot of genres and situations that need backing tracks, so have at it. If you have a good ear and you're decent at music theory, you should transcribe music. There's actually a lot of freelance music transcribing jobs out there for people who need music notation. Just try it out. This will definitely take some time out of your week to finish, but the bigger projects have a fairly high earning potential. If you're good at producing, help other musicians out, and then you can charge by the hour or by the project, whatever you prefer. Not all musicians have the skill, knowledge, or time to produce their own music, so put your skill to use. You won't just be making money, you're just going to be helping out a fellow musician, which is mutually beneficial. Use freelance services such as Fiverr and Upwork. Those are just two examples, but there's many out there, even specific to the music industry. You can find both long-term and short-term projects on there, and you essentially just make a profile. Some platforms have to approve your profile, and then you apply for jobs. People can also search you out on that platform as well if your skills and location matches what they're looking for. Jobs are posted all over the world on these services, typically, so the possibilities are really endless, especially if you can help someone out with music remotely. Services could include writing, mixing, video editing, design, and recording. The list goes on and on. Look for giveaways and project grants. They take a lot of researching, and you're probably not going to qualify for every single one of them, but make a list and start applying. Did you know that ASCAP has a Plus award, and they gave away almost $2 million this past year? You don't know until you start researching. So there's a lot of grants and a lot of organizations that are willing to give you money if you can present in a concise and attractive way what you're currently working on and trying to produce. This one's a little silly, but create sound files. This can be a great way to make some passive income if you play multiple and or unique instruments, or maybe you just have a weird talent of making weird noises. People can purchase your files when they need them for their music and productions. They don't need to be crazy sound effects, but if you have like a high-pitched sound perfect for a horror movie scene, or maybe you can make a swish sound that's perfect for a basketball hoop, then you just may be the exact sound someone's looking for to complete that vision. Just make sure the sounds are high quality, or that could really hurt your discovery and sales. This may not be much income, but it adds up over time and it's unique. Master licensing. You can make decent money as a recording artist getting your music on a TV show, commercial, or movie. To use it, they're going to pay you from that licensing fee. The income can change depending on what the project is for and, of course, that project's budget. But to get these deals, you have to be willing to pitch your music to companies. And I really don't want you to just take any deal. It's good to be picky with what companies you're pitching your music to, because they may not be in line with your artist vision or your music representation. You want to stay true to you and your brand as well. And just reaching for every single opportunity out there may not be the best idea. Some of the companies you can look into are Pond5, Crucial Music, Songtradr, and Music to Licensing. If you're a songwriter, you can also make money in sync licensing to sync your music to visual medias. So there's quite a bit of licensing opportunities out there for you, but you do have to search them out. All right, so that was a lot, but the next few I'm recommending after you have started to build a social and fan following. They're going to grow over time, but to really get the most out of these next money makers, you're going to want an audience behind you that's engaged and supportive. An option is to become an affiliate with certain programs you use. Basically, if you send traffic to their site, you earn a commission. It's based off of how many you send, and if you have a website and you are actually getting a decent amount of traffic to it, or maybe a blog, then this could be a really easy option for you. Amazon and iTunes both have an affiliate program, but there's thousands out there. American Musical Supply, Reverb, Virtual Sheet Music, Musician's Friend, Guitar Center, and Music Notes are just to name a few. They don't all have to be in the music industry. For example, I have an affiliate program going on with Wix right now, which is a website builder. But again, this is a really great source if you have a website or a blog that you're driving a decent amount of traffic to. The next one is crowdfunding, and this is a trend that's really growing and showing great success to musicians. This shouldn't support your lifestyle or the Starbucks coffee you need every other morning, maybe every morning, I don't know your life, but it should be used to help fund projects, tours, marketing initiatives, and album production, and honestly, whatever other things needed to get your music out there. Kickstarter and GoFundMe, I'm sure you've heard of. Those are the most popular, but there's plenty of others out there. I just really encourage you to make sure you do your research and make sure you're reading the fine print. You don't want half the money raised going towards the platform you're using. Once in a while, there can be some hefty fees. Patreon is similar to crowdfunding in a way, but it's more of a community of fans that support you and follow you for incentives. I absolutely love this platform, and I think it's a really awesome concept. But you have to be willing to give away free stuff. People will help fund you by pledging money towards what you put out there, and then they get rewards. Those rewards could be anything you decide. Typically, they're inside exclusive videos, meet and greets, online hangout sessions with you, video chats, merch, free downloads, whatever. But it is a really cool option, and it's a great way to have that personal interaction with your fans. YouTube can be used in a ton of different ways, but usually, for musicians, it's performing in tutorials. You can make money once you get enough subscribers to your channel or enough views on your videos. YouTube will pay you to run ads on pre-roll and sometimes mid-roll to your videos. You get a piece of the money generated through that advertisement. So this can make good money if you have enough views and you're promoting your videos through other platforms, getting people to watch them. The next one is selling merch. If you have an engaging audience and an awesome logo, sell t-shirts, hats, or whatever your audience is looking for. A really good way to figure out what they are in fact interested in buying is to just take a poll on social media. Ask them what kind of merch they want to see from you, and after that, your job is to just find a company that's going to print your merch for as little as possible. You can typically find a company that will just take online orders and print as needed. So when you're just getting started, rather than ordering in bulk, that may be the best option to go with. Unless you're planning on doing a tour, I would really caution ordering like hundreds and hundreds of specific merch items. And one of my musician friends found out the hard way. They ordered a ton of t-shirts, and then about 6 months later decided to rebrand, and all of those t-shirts became pretty much unsellable, and all of that merch money was wasted. So only order what you need to, or if you can find a company that will just order as they come in and send them to the fan, or to you to then send to the fan, that would be ideal. And the last two. These are possible if you have a very large social following and fan base. So you may not be able to do these next two right away, but these are definitely things to reach towards and to pursue once that following is of a decent size. Sponsorships. This is a very smart way to make money, again, once you have a big enough following. You could with a mediocre following, but businesses will agree a lot easier if you do have a fan base that's backing you. So essentially, businesses will sponsor you if your values align and they feel your music and brand will attract their fans or customers or whatever. Start small, possibly with local businesses, and then work up to bigger national sponsorships as you go. It usually starts off as a free discounted product, but if you prove to make a difference and benefit theirs, it could turn into gear and cash quickly. This is a step down from an endorsement. It's got less responsibility and influence because you're simply aligning your brands together. You're not recommending its quality or value to others. If you've ever seen, a sponsored logo on someone's concert tour poster, that's what this is. Endorsements is the last one. This can be huge. Once you have a strong following, some accomplishments behind you, and then some bargaining power behind your brand, you can potentially secure multiple endorsements. Do some research and plan out the companies who you feel would make a good partnership with you. This is a partnership. It could be instrument brands you use or accessories you swear by. There are a lot of options. Keep in mind that this is a contracted agreement and it requires full support and belief from the artist, you, in whatever you are endorsing. Keep in mind also that you are providing testimonials and your word on whatever company's product or service you're endorsing. So your audience trusts you, which means it's critical that you're only taking those endorsement deals that align with your brand, your values, and your vision. All right, guys, that was a lot, but I hope this at least got your wheels turning a bit. The money's out there, but it does take some consistent hard work and some research. It will pay off if you stick with it, but if you find yourself hopping from tactic to tactic because you're not seeing results in a week or a month, it's just going to be, as I like to call it, a time sucker. Whatever direction or directions you choose, commit to it. Just like with your music, you need to go all in for a decent amount of time. I would say all of these that I listed, you need to at least give 3 to 6 months, 3 months being the very minimum. Everything you do takes time, so just please be patient, stick with it, and give it a try. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Intentional Harmony titled The Broke Artist. And I hope you got at least one valuable thing from this episode, ideally multiple. And if you liked it, please subscribe, leave a rating, and comment. As always, I love feedback and follow-up, so if you have any feedback, questions, or just want to say, hey Katie, shoot me a private message on Instagram or Facebook at Intent Artist Management. And if you take a screenshot and put it in your Instagram story of this episode, tag me in it, and you just may be featured in an upcoming episode. Next week, we're going to be diving into the topic, keeping it real, where we'll chat about staying true to who you are and really solidifying a brand that people are going to remember for years to come. Thanks again for listening to Intentional Harmony, and we'll see you next time.